Hello, friend. Welcome to Science for Sleep. Tonight, we're going to spend some time slowly walking through why we keep certain animals as pets and how these animals make us feel. You may have noticed that being around a pet changes the atmosphere of a room. A dog resting nearby, a cat settling into a familiar place, even the quiet movement of an animal going about its routine. Something in the body often responds before the mind does. Many people feel calmer around animals without knowing why. Breathing slows, muscle tension eases, thoughts feel less crowded. There's a sense that nothing is being asked of you in that moment. This experience is remarkably common. So common, in fact, that humans have been living alongside animals for thousands of years, across cultures, across environments, across periods of history where survival alone would have justified keeping animals close. And yet companionship remained even when survival no longer depended on it. Which raises an interesting question. Why do animals feel comforting to us? Why does sharing space with a pet often feel regulating rather than demanding? And what is actually happening in the brain and body during these quiet moments of connection? Tonight, we're going to explore the science behind that bond. We'll look at why humans gravitate toward animals, how pets interact with our nervous system, and what biology and psychology reveal about presence, routine, touch, and shared space. Not through sentiment or storytelling, but through gentle, well-established scientific insight. You don't need to be a pet owner to recognize this effect. Brief interactions with animals often produce the same response. Watching a dog on a walk, hearing an animal settle nearby, observing a living presence that moves through the world without asking for explanation. The human nervous system is highly sensitive to social environments. It constantly evaluates what is expected, what needs to be interpreted, and whether response is required. Animals simplify that environment. Their signals are consistent. Their behavior is readable. Their presence does not require performance or interpretation. For the body, this matters. It allows systems responsible for calm, regulation, and recovery to become more active. Heart rate adjusts. Breathing finds a steadier rhythm. Stress-related signaling begins to ease. Many people experience this shift instinctively. A pet resting beside them during the evening. An animal sleeping nearby as the house grows quiet. A shared stillness that doesn't need direction. These moments are biologically meaningful. As we continue tonight, we'll take our time exploring why this bond exists and how deeply rooted it is in human biology. Quietly, without urgency. For now, you can simply listen and perhaps notice how familiar this feeling already is. The connection between humans and animals is not accidental. It's something the body understands long before the mind tries to explain it. And in that understanding, calm often begins to take shape. Humans have lived alongside animals for an unusually long time. Long before cities, written language, or modern technology, early humans formed close relationships with certain animals. At first, these relationships were practical. Animals helped with hunting. They provided protection. They offered warmth and assistance in harsh environments. But what's notable is what happened after those practical needs were met. Animals stayed. As human societies developed tools, shelters, and communities that reduced reliance on animals for survival, many animals remained close to human life. They were not released back into the wild. They were not treated only as tools. They became familiar presences. Archaeological evidence suggests that humans were burying animals alongside people thousands of years ago. Some animals were cared for even when they were injured or no longer useful for work. This suggests that the bond went beyond function. From a scientific perspective, this persistence is important. Evolution tends to remove unnecessary behaviors. If keeping animals nearby offered no advantage, the practice would likely have faded over time. Instead, it spread across cultures and continents. This tells us that living with animals provided something valuable, even if it wasn't immediately obvious. Part of that value comes from how the human brain responds to other living beings. The brain evolved to monitor social environments closely. It constantly scans for movement, expression, and intention. In early human life, being aware of nearby creatures increased survival. Animals fit into this system in a unique way. They are living and responsive, which the brain finds relevant. But they are also predictable, which reduces uncertainty. Their signals are limited and consistent. Their behavior follows patterns that are easy to learn. This combination is rare. Other humans are highly complex social partners. They require interpretation, emotional regulation, and constant adjustment. Animals, by contrast, offer presence without complexity. Over time, this made animals reliable companions in human environments. They provided a steady background of life, movement without unpredictability, awareness without social pressure. From an evolutionary standpoint, this matters. Environments that reduce uncertainty allow the nervous system to relax its constant monitoring. When fewer threats or social demands are present, the body can shift energy away from vigilance and toward maintenance. Animals helped create those environments. Their presence signaled that the area was safe enough to remain in. They reacted to changes in the surroundings before humans needed to. They offered cues without requiring response. As humans began to settle into longer-term communities, animals became part of that stability. They anchored daily routines. They followed cycles of rest and activity. They moved through shared spaces in familiar ways. These rhythms aligned well with the human nervous system. Predictable environments support regulation. They reduce the need for constant alertness. They allow internal systems to settle. Over generations, humans became accustomed to this cohabitation. The nervous system learned that certain animals could be trusted as part of the environment, rather than treated as unknown variables. This learning did not require conscious thought. It was embedded through repeated exposure, through shared space, through consistent patterns. By the time modern humans emerged, living with animals was already a deeply established behavior. Not because it was sentimental, but because it worked. It supported safety. It reduced uncertainty. And it quietly shaped environments where the body could rest more easily. As we continue, we'll look more closely at how this long history still influences the way our bodies respond to pets today, often before we're even aware of it. Over time, the relationship between humans and animals began to change. What started as a practical partnership slowly became something more consistent and more personal. Animals were no longer only present during moments of work or survival. They began to share everyday space. As humans developed stable shelters and communities, animals remained nearby, even when their original roles became less critical. They stayed close to sleeping areas. They followed daily routines. They occupied the same environments where rest and recovery happened. This shift matters from a scientific perspective. When an animal is present only for a task, interaction is brief and purposeful. When an animal shares space continuously, the nervous system begins to register it as part of the environment, rather than something that needs constant evaluation. Familiarity changes how the brain responds. The human brain is highly sensitive to novelty. New stimuli require attention. Unknown movement increases monitoring. Unfamiliar signals raise vigilance. As animals became familiar presences, they stopped triggering these responses. Their movements became expected. Their sounds became predictable. Their behavior followed rhythms that the nervous system could learn. This predictability reduced cognitive and physiological load. From a biological standpoint, reduced load creates opportunity. When the brain no longer needs to constantly interpret another living being, energy can be redirected toward internal regulation. Heart rate variability improves. Breathing becomes more efficient. Stress-related signaling decreases gradually. This is where companionship begins to take shape. Companionship is not primarily emotional at first. It is regulatory. An animal that shares space without demanding interaction creates a low-effort social environment. There is presence without obligation. Awareness without response. For early humans, this would have been especially valuable. Human social groups require constant coordination. Tone, status, intention, and meaning all need to be tracked. This is metabolically expensive. Animals offered a different kind of social input. They were alive and responsive, which the brain finds meaningful. But they were not socially complex. They did not require explanation or emotional management. This balance allowed animals to become calming anchors in human environments. Over generations, this dynamic reinforced itself. Humans selected animals that tolerated proximity. Animals adapted to human routines. Both sides benefited from the stability of shared space. The nervous system adapted as well. Repeated exposure to animals that posed no threat taught the brain that certain living beings could be present without requiring vigilance. This learning happened implicitly, not consciously. As this pattern repeated across time, companionship became normalized. Animals were no longer seen only as external tools. They became part of the household environment, part of the rhythm of daily life. This is an important distinction. Tools are used and set aside. Companions remain. Companionship creates continuity. Continuity supports regulation. When animals are consistently present during quiet moments, rest, sleep, recovery, the nervous system begins to associate them with safety and stability. This association does not depend on affection. It depends on repetition. An animal that lies nearby while nothing happens becomes linked to low-demand states. Over time, The presence of that animal alone can cue similar physiological responses. This is why companionship does not require interaction to be effective. An animal does not need to be touched or spoken to in order to influence the body. Shared space is enough. As humans moved further away from survival-based relationships with animals, this regulatory companionship became more pronounced. Pets became part of domestic life. They followed household schedules. They slept when humans slept. They moved through spaces in predictable ways. These patterns aligned with the body's need for rhythm and familiarity. From a scientific perspective, this is not accidental. The nervous system thrives in environments where living presence is steady rather than unpredictable. Animals provided that steadiness. In time, companionship became the primary role. Not because humans needed animals emotionally in the way we describe today, but because animals helped create environments where the body could rest, regulate, and recover more easily. This transition, from survival partner to companion, laid the groundwork for the powerful biological responses many people still experience around pets now. As we move forward, we'll look more closely at what happens inside the brain and nervous system when that familiar animal presence is nearby, and why the body responds so reliably, even without conscious thought. The human brain responds to animals in a way that is both ancient and automatic. Long before conscious thought is involved, the brain evaluates what kind of presence is nearby. Is it threatening? Is it unpredictable? Does it require attention or response? This evaluation happens continuously without awareness. Animals fit into this process in a unique way. They are clearly alive. They move, breathe, and respond to their surroundings. The brain recognizes this immediately. Living presence matters to the nervous system in a way that objects do not. At the same time, most domesticated animals behave within narrow, predictable patterns. Their movements are familiar. Their reactions are consistent. Their intentions are simple to read. This combination is important. The brain is tuned to notice life, but it relaxes when that life does not introduce uncertainty. From a neurological perspective, unpredictability is what keeps vigilance active. Sudden changes require rapid interpretation. Ambiguous signals demand attention. Complex social behavior increases cognitive load. Animals reduce this load. They do not communicate through layered language. They do not require interpretation of hidden meaning. Their signals tend to be direct and limited. This allows the brain to remain engaged without being taxed. Social interaction with other humans activates multiple regions at once. Facial recognition, tone analysis, emotional regulation, prediction of response. All of these systems work together to navigate even simple conversation. Being around animals bypasses much of this complexity. The brain still recognizes another being, but it does not need to prepare for social negotiation. This reduction has measurable effects. Neural activity associated with threat detection decreases. Attention networks become less reactive. The brain shifts from active interpretation toward passive monitoring. Passive monitoring requires less energy. When the brain expends less energy on evaluating its environment, more resources are available for internal regulation. This shift supports calmer heart rhythms, more efficient breathing patterns, lower baseline stress signaling. Importantly, this does not require interaction. An animal does not need to engage directly for this effect to occur. Simply being present in the same space can influence brain activity. This is because the brain tracks the environment as a whole. A familiar animal moving calmly nearby becomes part of the background. Once integrated into that background, it no longer triggers alertness. Instead, it reinforces predictability. Predictability is a key signal of safety. When the brain senses that its environment is stable and understandable, it reduces its readiness to respond. This readiness is what consumes energy and sustains tension. Animals help lower this readiness by offering consistent, readable presence. Over time, repeated exposure strengthens this response. The brain learns, through experience, that certain animals do not require interpretation or defense. This learning is implicit. It does not rely on conscious trust or emotional attachment. It is stored in neural patterns associated with familiarity and expectation. As a result, the presence of a familiar pet can quickly shift brain activity toward regulation, often faster than conscious thought can follow. This explains why comfort around animals often feels immediate. There is no need to think differently. The brain has already categorized the situation as low demand. In this way, animals interact with the brain not through logic or emotion, but through pattern recognition. They create an environment where the brain can remain aware without being on guard. And in that lowered state of vigilance, the body gains access to the physiological conditions that support calm, recovery, and rest. As we continue, we'll look more closely at how this shift in brain activity affects the nervous system as a whole, and why pets are especially effective at helping the body move out of readiness and into regulation. The presence of pets has a direct effect on the nervous system. This effect does not rely on emotion, belief, or intention. It occurs through automatic physiological pathways that respond to safety, predictability, and low demand. The nervous system is always balancing between two primary states, one oriented toward readiness and response, the other oriented toward regulation and recovery. When the environment feels uncertain, the system leans toward readiness. Heart rate increases slightly. Muscles maintain tension. Breathing stays shallow enough to adjust quickly. Attention remains outward, scanning for change. When the environment feels stable, the balance shifts. Pets contribute to this shift in a quiet but reliable way. A familiar animal nearby provides a steady signal that nothing urgent is happening. There are no sudden demands, no social expectations, no need to interpret tone, meaning, or intention. This simplicity matters to the nervous system. Predictable movement reduces vigilance. Consistent behavior lowers the need for monitoring. Repeated exposure teaches the system that this presence does not require response. As vigilance softens, the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system becomes more active. This branch supports processes associated with calm, digestion, immune regulation, and recovery. The shift is gradual. There is no switch being flipped, no command to relax. The system simply reallocates resources as demand decreases. Breathing often slows slightly on its own. Heart rhythm becomes more adaptable. Muscle tone redistributes rather than bracing. These changes are subtle enough that they are rarely noticed consciously. Touch can deepen this effect, but it is not required. Sitting near a pet, sharing a room, or hearing gentle movement is often enough. The nervous system responds to proximity and familiarity before physical contact becomes relevant. When touch does occur, additional sensory pathways are engaged. Pressure, warmth, and rhythmic movement provide input that supports regulation. These signals are processed as non-threatening and consistent, reinforcing the sense of safety. Importantly, pets do not overwhelm the sensory system. Their sounds are limited. Their movements are slow or repetitive. Their presence does not compete for attention. This allows the nervous system to remain settled rather than stimulated. Over time, repeated experiences like this reinforce regulation. The body learns that being near a pet often coincides with low-demand states. Resting, evening routines, quiet moments. Through repetition, the nervous system begins to associate pets with these conditions automatically. This is why the calming effect of animals often appears quickly. The system does not need to evaluate the situation from scratch. It has learned the pattern. A familiar pet becomes a cue, not a cue that something must be done, but a cue that nothing needs to be done. This distinction is important. Calm is not created by removing all stimulation. It is created by reducing unnecessary stimulation while maintaining a sense of connection to the environment. Pets provide that connection without adding complexity. They are present. They are alive. They are predictable. This combination supports a nervous system state that favors regulation over readiness. In this state, recovery processes become more efficient. Stress-related signaling decreases. Energy is redirected toward maintenance. The effect does not depend on affection or attachment alone. It depends on consistency. Even people who describe themselves as not particularly emotional about animals often experience this physiological shift. The body responds before the mind forms an opinion. This is why pets are often described as calming even in silence, even without interaction, even without conscious attention. The nervous system recognizes the conditions created by a familiar animal presence and adjusts accordingly. As we move forward, we'll look more closely at how specific forms of interaction, such as touch, proximity, and routine, reinforce this regulation, and why these effects remain consistent across different types of pets and different stages of life. Touch and proximity play an important role in how pets influence the body, even when that influence feels subtle. The human nervous system is highly responsive to physical closeness, not in a social or emotional sense at first, but in a sensory one. The body constantly receives information about temperature, pressure, and movement. These signals help determine whether the environment is safe enough to settle into. Pets provide a unique form of sensory input. Their bodies are warm. Their movements are slow and rhythmic. Their presence remains close without becoming intrusive. This combination matters. Gentle, consistent pressure has a regulating effect on the nervous system. It activates sensory pathways that communicate safety rather than urgency. These pathways do not demand attention. They work quietly in the background. When a pet rests nearby, the body receives continuous low-level sensory information. the rise and fall of breathing, subtle shifts in position, occasional movement that is familiar rather than surprising. These signals help anchor awareness. They remind the nervous system that it is not alone in the space, but also not required to respond. There is presence without demand. From a biological perspective, this kind of proximity reduces uncertainty. Uncertainty keeps systems alert. Predictable sensory input allows them to soften. Touch, when it occurs, deepens this effect. Gentle contact activates receptors in the skin that are linked to calming responses. These receptors communicate directly with areas of the brain involved in regulation. They do not require interpretation or thought. This is why petting an animal often feels soothing without effort. The rhythm matters. Slow, repetitive movement is processed differently than quick or irregular motion. It encourages breathing to slow naturally. It supports a steadier heart rhythm. It reduces the need for constant adjustment. Pets tend to move within these calming ranges. They stretch, they settle, they reposition slowly. Their presence introduces motion that does not demand reaction. Even when no touch is involved, proximity alone can have a similar effect. Sharing space allows the nervous system to register another living being as part of the environment, rather than a stimulus to engage with. Once registered, that presence contributes to a sense of continuity. Continuity supports regulation. When the environment remains consistent, the body reduces its readiness for interruption. Muscle tension eases slightly. Breathing becomes more efficient. Attention widens rather than sharpens. This process does not require conscious awareness. Many people notice its effects only in hindsight. They realize they feel calmer after sitting with a pet. They notice a sense of ease that wasn't deliberately created. Science helps explain why. The nervous system is designed to respond to patterns. When proximity and touch follow predictable, non-threatening patterns, the system adjusts its baseline. Over time, repeated experiences reinforce this adjustment. The body learns that closeness to a pet often coincides with low-demand states. Rest, quiet, evening routines. Eventually, proximity itself becomes enough to cue regulation. This is why pets can feel grounding even when they are simply nearby, doing very little. Their presence provides sensory information that supports calm without requiring effort. As we continue, we'll look at how these effects extend beyond the moment, how routine and repeated interaction with pets shape daily rhythms, and why those rhythms play such a powerful role in human well-being. Interaction with pets also influences the body through hormonal pathways associated with bonding and safety. One of the most studied of these is oxytocin. Oxytocin is often described as a bonding hormone, but its function is broader than emotion alone. It plays a key role in social trust, stress regulation, and the ability to feel at ease in the presence of another being. When oxytocin levels rise, the nervous system tends to reduce its state of readiness. This shift happens quietly. Research shows that interacting with familiar animals through gentle touch, eye contact, or shared presence can increase oxytocin levels in humans. The same effect has been observed in animals as well. This suggests that the bond is not one-sided. It is a mutual regulatory process. What makes this especially relevant for pets is how little effort is required. With humans, bonding often involves language, interpretation, and emotional management. With animals, bonding relies more heavily on consistency and physical presence. The signals involved are simpler and easier for the nervous system to process. Oxytocin supports this simplicity. When oxytocin increases, stress-related hormones such as cortisol tend to decrease. Heart rate becomes more stable. Blood pressure may lower slightly. The body shifts toward a state that supports recovery rather than response. These changes are not dramatic. They do not feel like excitement or emotional intensity. They feel like steadiness. This is why many people describe feeling more grounded or settled around pets rather than emotionally stimulated. The hormonal shift favors calm connection rather than heightened feeling. Eye contact plays a role here, but in a specific way. With humans, eye contact can increase alertness. It carries social meaning that must be interpreted. With familiar animals, eye contact tends to be softer and shorter. It lacks complex expectation. This difference matters. Gentle eye contact with a pet can activate bonding pathways without triggering social vigilance. The nervous system reads the interaction as safe and non-demanding. Touch reinforces this effect. Slow, consistent touch supports oxytocin release by activating sensory pathways linked to safety and trust. These pathways bypass conscious thought. They communicate directly with regulatory centers in the brain. Over time, repeated interactions strengthen this response. The body begins to associate pets with hormonal patterns that support calm. Simply being near a familiar animal can begin to trigger the same pathways, even without direct interaction. This is one reason pets often feel comforting during stressful periods. They provide access to regulatory chemistry without requiring explanation, conversation, or effort. Importantly, this process does not depend on strong emotional attachment in the way people often imagine. Even brief, routine interactions can produce measurable effects. The body responds to pattern and consistency more than intensity. Oxytocin helps explain why the presence of pets can feel stabilizing across different situations and stages of life. It supports trust without complexity, connection without demand. As we continue, we'll explore how this biological bond influences the way pets become predictable social partners, and why that predictability plays such a powerful role in reducing mental and emotional load. Pets function as social partners in a way that is unusually easy for the human mind to process. Most social interaction requires continuous mental effort. The brain monitors tone, timing, expression, and intention. It predicts response. It adjusts behavior. Even familiar conversations involve constant micro-decisions. This cognitive work often goes unnoticed, but it consumes energy. Animals reduce that demand. A pet's behavior follows simple, consistent patterns. Hunger looks the same each day. Rest looks the same. Affection looks the same. There is very little ambiguity. For the brain, this predictability is relieving. It means fewer interpretations, fewer corrections, fewer adjustments. The mind can remain aware without being actively engaged. This is especially important during rest. When cognitive load is low, the brain can shift out of problem-solving mode. Attention softens. Thoughts become less urgent. mental activity slows naturally rather than being forced to stop. Pets support this shift simply by being themselves. They do not change their behavior based on subtle social cues. They do not require emotional calibration. They do not expect explanation. This creates a social environment that is unusually stable. From a psychological perspective, stability reduces internal noise. When the brain does not need to manage interaction, it has fewer loops to maintain, fewer social variables to track, less mental rehearsal. This can feel like quiet, not the absence of thought, but the absence of demand. Many people notice this most clearly when sitting with a pet in silence. No conversation, no shared task, just presence. The brain remains socially connected without being socially active. This matters because humans are wired for connection, but not constant engagement. Disconnection can feel isolating. Over-engagement can feel exhausting. Pets occupy a middle space. They provide companionship without activating the full social system. This is why being with a pet often feels restorative rather than draining. There is connection without performance, awareness without responsibility. Over time, the brain learns this pattern. It begins to associate pets with mental ease, with moments when thinking can slow, with environments where nothing needs to be resolved. This learning is subtle but persistent. It shapes how quickly the mind settles when a familiar animal is nearby, how easily attention drifts away from stressors, how naturally rest begins to form. Pets do not quiet the mind by interrupting it. They quiet it by reducing what the mind has to do. As we continue, we'll look more closely at why this effect can feel especially strong for people who find social environments demanding, and why animals often feel safer or easier to be around than people, even when both are familiar. For many people, animals feel safe in a way that is difficult to explain. Not because animals are always gentle or simple, but because their presence does not require interpretation in the same way human presence does. Human social environments are layered. Even in quiet settings, the mind is often tracking subtle signals: facial expression, tone, timing, expectation. This constant monitoring keeps the nervous system slightly activated. Animals reduce that activation. Their behavior tends to be consistent across situations. A familiar pet responds the same way, whether you are energetic or quiet. There is no need to adjust your mood to match theirs. No need to manage how you are perceived. This consistency creates a sense of safety. Safety, from a biological perspective, does not mean the absence of threat alone. It means the absence of unpredictability. Unpredictability is what keeps the nervous system alert. It is what maintains internal readiness. It is what prevents full relaxation. Pets remove much of that uncertainty. They do not judge. They do not reinterpret. They do not require explanation. Their responses are direct and readable. This matters especially for people who find social interaction tiring or overwhelming. The human brain is constantly modeling how others might respond. This modeling takes effort. It consumes attention. It increases internal load. With animals, that modeling becomes unnecessary. The brain does not need to simulate multiple outcomes. It does not need to rehearse responses. It does not need to prepare for evaluation. This reduction allows the nervous system to settle. Many people experience this as a sense of relief. Not emotional relief, but physiological relief. Shoulders drop, jaw unclenches, breathing deepens slightly. These shifts happen without instruction. Animals also provide a form of honesty that the nervous system trusts. Their reactions tend to match their internal state. Excitement looks like excitement. Rest looks like rest. There is little discrepancy between signal and intention. The nervous system responds well to this clarity. When signals are clear, vigilance decreases. When vigilance decreases, regulation increases. This is why animals often feel comforting during moments of stress, sadness, or fatigue. They do not require a certain emotional presentation. They do not ask for reassurance. They do not need to be managed. They simply remain. For the nervous system, remaining is powerful. It communicates continuity. It communicates stability. It communicates that nothing urgent needs to be addressed. Over time, repeated experiences like this reinforce the association. The body learns that being near animals often coincides with safety and ease. This learning happens beneath awareness. It does not require belief or intention. Even brief exposure can trigger the response. Passing an animal on a walk, hearing one settle nearby, observing calm, predictable movement. The nervous system recognizes the pattern. Animals feel safe not because they solve problems, but because they reduce the number of problems the nervous system has to manage. They simplify the social environment. And in that simplicity, the body finds space to rest. As we move forward, we'll explore how this sense of safety extends into daily routines and why pets often help structure time in ways that further support regulation and recovery. Pets naturally introduce rhythm into daily life, not through schedules or reminders, but through repeated, predictable patterns that the body begins to recognize over time. Feeding times arrive at similar moments each day. Sleep and wake cycles follow familiar cues. Movement through the home tends to repeat along the same paths. These patterns create structure. From a biological perspective, structure supports regulation. The nervous system relies on rhythm to organize internal processes. Breathing follows rhythm. Heart activity follows rhythm. Hormonal release follows rhythm. When the external environment is rhythmic, internal systems align more easily. Pets contribute to this alignment in a quiet way. They anchor attention to the present moment. They move through routines without urgency. They reinforce a sense of time that is cyclical rather than demanding. This is especially important during periods of stress. Stress disrupts rhythm. Sleep becomes irregular. Appetite fluctuates. Attention jumps ahead or loops backward. Pets pull attention back into sequence. Morning care, midday rest, evening settling. These repeated cues help the nervous system anticipate what comes next. Anticipation reduces uncertainty. When the body knows what to expect, it reduces its readiness to respond. Muscles do not brace as strongly. Breathing does not need to stay shallow. Energy can be conserved. Routine also supports a sense of continuity. Days do not feel entirely disconnected from one another. There is a thread that carries through. This continuity is calming. It signals that life is moving forward in a manageable way, that there is enough stability to rest between moments. Pets do not impose this structure through demand. They simply follow their own rhythms. They sleep when tired. They eat when hungry. They rest when nothing is required. Humans adapt to these rhythms naturally. Over time, shared routines become shared regulation. The nervous system begins to associate certain times of day with low demand. Evening routines, in particular, are influenced by pets. As animals settle, their stillness often mirrors into the environment. Movement slows, sound decreases, light softens. These cues help the body prepare for rest. Importantly, this effect does not depend on strict scheduling. It depends on consistency. Even loose routines, when repeated, provide enough predictability for the nervous system to relax. This is why many people find comfort in the simple repetition of caring for a pet. The actions themselves are familiar. The sequence is known. There is nothing new to solve. Caring for a pet becomes part of the body's sense of order. This order supports regulation without effort. As we continue, we'll look at how this steady presence influences feelings of connection and loneliness, and why pets often fulfill a form of companionship that does not require conversation or explanation. Loneliness and presence are often spoken about as opposites, but from a biological and psychological perspective, they are not the same thing. Loneliness is not simply the absence of people. It is the absence of felt connection. The nervous system experiences it as a lack of safety and continuity. Presence, on the other hand, does not require conversation or interaction. It requires only that another living being shares the space in a way that does not increase demand. Pets provide this kind of presence naturally. They occupy the same environment without requiring engagement. They do not ask for updates, explanations, or emotional performance. They remain nearby in a way that feels steady rather than intrusive. This distinction matters. Many people feel lonely even when others are present. Conversation alone does not always resolve isolation. If interaction requires effort, interpretation, or self-monitoring, the nervous system may remain unsettled. Pets change that dynamic. Their presence does not activate the same social evaluation systems. There is no need to monitor tone or response. No need to adjust behavior to be understood. The body registers this difference immediately. Breathing often slows. Muscle tension decreases. Attention softens rather than sharpens. This is why pets can reduce perceived isolation even in silence. The nervous system recognizes another living being nearby and registers connection without obligation. From a scientific standpoint, this satisfies a core requirement of human regulation. Humans evolved to co-regulate with others. Shared space helped signal safety. Group presence reduced the need for constant vigilance. Pets now fulfill part of that role. They provide companionship without conversation, presence without demand. This allows the nervous system to exit self-monitoring mode. In self-monitoring, attention turns inward. Thoughts loop. The body stays alert even in stillness. With a pet nearby, attention can rest outward in a non-demanding way. This breaks rumination without distraction. The result is often a quiet sense of company. Not excitement, not stimulation, just knowing something alive is nearby. This is especially meaningful during quiet hours. evenings, late nights, moments when the world feels empty rather than calm. Pets soften those moments. They fill the space with life without filling it with noise or expectation. Importantly, this effect does not depend on emotional closeness as people usually define it. It depends on shared presence. A pet does not need to be interacted with to reduce loneliness. Simply being in the same room is often enough. Over time, the nervous system learns this association. Presence equals safety. Shared space equals continuity. This learning is not conscious. It is stored in bodily memory rather than narrative memory. That is why pets are often described as making a home feel less empty. Not because they distract from loneliness, but because they change the physiological state that produces it. As we continue, we'll explore how the subtle sounds animals make, breathing, movement, quiet activity, further reinforce this sense of presence and help the nervous system remain settled even in silence. One of the quieter ways pets influence the nervous system is through sound. Not sound in the sense of noise or activity, but sound as a steady, living background. The kind that does not demand attention, yet subtly shapes how a space feels. The human nervous system is always listening. Even in stillness, it tracks what is happening in the environment. It listens for changes in rhythm, for sudden absence, for unexpected interruption. Complete silence can sometimes feel unsettling, not because silence itself is harmful, but because the nervous system evolved to associate total absence of sound with uncertainty. In natural environments, there is almost always some form of background life. Wind through leaves, insects moving, distant water. Subtle signs that the environment is stable and continuous. Pets recreate this effect inside human spaces. Their breathing is audible, even when quiet. Their movement produces small, familiar sounds. A shift of weight, a stretch, the soft contact of paws on the floor. These sounds are predictable. They follow rhythms the nervous system quickly learns. They are neither sharp nor erratic. They arrive and pass without requiring response. From a sensory perspective, this matters deeply. The nervous system uses ambient sound to assess safety. Consistent, low-level sound suggests continuity. It suggests that the environment has not suddenly changed. Pets provide this continuity. The sound of an animal breathing nearby communicates presence without intrusion. It signals that another living system is sharing the space and remains at ease. This has a settling effect. Breathing rhythms often begin to align subtly, not through conscious effort, but through sensory entrainment. The body adjusts to the pace of what it hears. This process is quiet and automatic. It does not require attention. It does not require intention. Movement sounds work similarly. A pet moving calmly through a room reinforces the sense that the environment is active but stable. There is life, but no urgency. Motion, but no disruption. This balance is important. Too much sound activates alertness. Too little can heighten sensitivity to internal noise. Pets occupy the middle ground. They fill the space with gentle auditory cues that prevent the nervous system from turning inward too sharply. This is why many people notice that a home feels different when a pet is present, even when the pet is asleep. The space feels less empty, more grounded, more settled. the sounds are not engaging enough to distract, yet they are present enough to reassure. From a biological standpoint, this reduces vigilance. The nervous system does not need to listen as closely for threat when the background remains consistent. Attention can soften. Internal monitoring decreases. This is particularly relevant during rest and sleep. As the body prepares to rest, the nervous system becomes more sensitive to the environment. Unexpected silence or sudden sound can interrupt settling. The familiar sounds of a pet provide continuity during this transition. Breathing nearby, a quiet repositioning, a subtle reminder that the environment remains unchanged. These cues support a smoother descent into rest. They allow the nervous system to remain connected to the environment without staying alert. Importantly, this effect does not depend on volume. Even very soft sounds can carry regulatory information. The nervous system is tuned to pattern more than intensity. A steady, repeating sound communicates stability more effectively than silence broken by occasional disruption. Pets naturally generate these patterns. Their internal rhythms, breathing, movement, rest, create a living soundscape that supports regulation. Over time, the nervous system begins to associate these sounds with safety and calm. The association becomes automatic. Hearing a familiar pet settle can immediately signal that the environment is secure, that nothing needs to be monitored closely, that rest is allowed. This is one reason why many people find it easier to sleep when a pet is nearby, even if they do not consciously notice the sound. The body recognizes it. The presence of gentle, living sound reduces the sense of isolation that silence can sometimes bring. It replaces emptiness with continuity. In this way, pets function as part of the sensory environment, rather than as active participants. They provide reassurance without effort. As we move forward, we'll explore how these sensory effects translate into measurable changes in stress hormones and recovery processes, and why the presence of pets is associated with lower physiological stress over time. The effects of pets on the body are not only felt subjectively, they can also be measured. One of the clearest areas where this appears is in the body's stress response. When the nervous system perceives threat or uncertainty, it releases stress hormones that prepare the body to respond. One of the primary hormones involved in this process is cortisol. Cortisol is not harmful on its own. It plays an important role in energy regulation, immune response, and alertness. But when cortisol remains elevated for long periods, it places strain on the body. Recovery becomes less efficient. Sleep becomes lighter. Muscle tension persists. The mind remains more reactive. Pets influence this system in a quiet but consistent way. Multiple studies have shown that interaction with familiar animals is associated with lower cortisol levels in humans. This includes gentle touch, shared presence, and routine care. Even brief interaction can shift stress markers. What's important is that this effect does not rely on distraction. The body is not simply forgetting stress. It is actively receiving signals that reduce the need for a heightened stress response. Predictability plays a role here. When the nervous system encounters a familiar, non-threatening presence, it reassesses its environment. If no response is required, cortisol release decreases gradually. This is not a dramatic drop. It is a subtle recalibration. Over time, these small adjustments matter. Lower baseline cortisol supports better immune function. It allows tissues to repair more efficiently. It supports deeper, more stable sleep cycles. Heart rate is influenced as well. Reduced cortisol is associated with lower resting heart rate and improved heart rate variability. This indicates that the nervous system is better able to adapt rather than remain rigidly alert. Pets support this adaptability. Their presence does not trigger sudden demands. They do not introduce new problems to solve. They reinforce the sense that the environment is manageable. This allows the body to step out of constant readiness. The effect is often strongest during quiet moments. Sitting with a pet, resting nearby, engaging in repetitive, familiar interaction. These situations reinforce low-demand states, which the body learns to associate with safety. Importantly, the reduction in stress hormones does not require strong emotional attachment. People who report neutral or mild feelings toward animals can still show measurable changes in cortisol levels. This suggests that the effect is rooted in sensory and environmental factors rather than emotion alone. Consistency matters more than intensity. Regular exposure to the same animal in familiar contexts reinforces the body's expectation of calm. The stress system responds accordingly. Over time, this can influence how the body reacts to stress more generally. Lower baseline stress makes it easier to recover from challenges. The nervous system becomes more flexible. Stress responses resolve more quickly. This does not mean stress disappears. It means the body is better supported in returning to baseline. Pets contribute to this support quietly. They do not intervene. They do not correct. They simply remain part of the environment. In doing so, they help shape hormonal patterns that favor recovery over vigilance. As we continue, we'll look at how the act of caring for another living being builds on this effect and why responsibility paired with low pressure can further support regulation and emotional balance. Caring for a pet introduces a form of responsibility that is different from most others in human life. It is responsibility without performance, responsibility without constant evaluation, responsibility that unfolds through simple, repeated actions rather than complex decision-making. From a psychological perspective, this distinction is important. Many forms of responsibility increase stress because they demand monitoring. They require planning, adjustment, and anticipation of outcomes. They keep attention oriented toward what might go wrong. Caring for a pet works differently. The needs are clear: food, water, movement, rest. There is very little ambiguity. The mind does not need to interpret hidden expectations or prepare for judgment. The actions required are familiar and concrete. This reduces cognitive load. When the mind is not occupied with prediction and evaluation, it has fewer loops to maintain, fewer internal conversations to manage, less need to replay or rehearse. As a result, attention often shifts outward in a gentle way. This outward focus matters for healing. Rumination keeps the nervous system active. Thoughts circle inward, revisiting the same concerns. The body remains subtly alert even during stillness. Caring for a pet interrupts this pattern without force. The focus moves from internal states to external care, not in a distracting way, but in a grounding one. Feeding a pet, refilling a bowl, going for a short walk, watching an animal settle comfortably. These actions anchor attention in the present moment. They provide structure without urgency. From a biological perspective, this kind of engagement supports regulation. The nervous system responds well to tasks that are meaningful but not demanding. Tasks that have a clear beginning and end. Tasks that repeat predictably. Caring for a pet fits this profile. There is purpose, but no pressure to optimize. There is responsibility, but no expectation of improvement or achievement. This creates a sense of usefulness without strain. For many people, this is rare. Much of adult life ties usefulness to performance, to productivity, to measurable outcomes. Pets do not operate within this framework. They do not evaluate the quality of care beyond whether their basic needs are met. They do not require explanation or justification. This allows the nervous system to experience purpose without threat. Purpose without threat is regulating. It signals that energy can be spent without needing to prepare for consequence. Over time, this has a cumulative effect. Repeated experiences of low-pressure responsibility teach the body that engagement does not always lead to stress. That action does not always require vigilance. This learning happens gradually. The body begins to associate certain routines with steadiness rather than effort. Care becomes part of regulation rather than a drain on it. This is why many people find pet care calming even when they are tired. The actions themselves are familiar. The sequence is known. There is nothing new to solve. Even during periods of emotional difficulty, these routines often remain intact. Grief, anxiety, uncertainty. Caring for a pet provides continuity through these states. The nervous system benefits from this continuity. It reinforces the idea that some parts of life remain stable, that not everything is changing at once. This stability supports healing. Healing does not require constant attention or effort. It requires conditions that allow systems to operate without interference. Caring for a pet helps create those conditions. It reduces rumination by gently redirecting attention. It reduces stress by pairing responsibility with predictability. It provides purpose without activating performance-based pressure. Importantly, this effect does not depend on doing everything perfectly. Pets are forgiving. Their needs are resilient. Care does not have to be optimized to be sufficient. This removes another layer of mental strain. The body can engage without bracing. Over time, these small experiences accumulate. They reinforce regulation. They support emotional balance. They create an environment where healing processes can continue quietly in the background. Caring for something living reminds the nervous system that connection and responsibility do not always come with cost. Sometimes they come with steadiness. As we continue, we'll look at how this absence of expectation extends beyond care into identity itself, and why animals often allow people to feel accepted without needing to be different or improved. One of the most regulating aspects of being around animals is how little they ask of who we are. In human social environments, identity is often active. We adjust tone, we manage expression, we present different versions of ourselves depending on context. This adjustment happens automatically, but it carries a cost. The nervous system remains engaged in monitoring. Am I being understood? Am I responding correctly? Am I meeting expectations? Even in supportive relationships, this process continues in subtle ways. Animals remove this layer entirely. They do not require a particular mood. They do not expect explanation. They do not need us to be more articulate, more positive, or more composed. Their response to us remains largely the same regardless of internal state. This consistency is deeply regulating. From a psychological perspective, identity management is effortful. It requires the mind to hold a version of itself in place while interacting. It increases self-awareness and internal commentary. When this effort is removed, attention softens. Being around a pet does not activate self-evaluation. There is no sense of being observed in a social sense. There is no pressure to align behavior with expectation. The nervous system responds to this absence immediately. Muscle tension decreases. Breathing becomes less controlled. Posture shifts from held to natural. This is not because animals are emotionally validating in a human sense. It is because they do not trigger the systems responsible for self-monitoring. The brain does not need to simulate how it is being perceived. It does not need to adjust presentation. This allows the body to return to baseline. Baseline is the state where energy is not being used to maintain an identity. It is where internal systems can function without interference. For many people, this is a rare experience. Much of daily life requires continuous adjustment. Work environments, social spaces, even close relationships can involve subtle roles. Animals provide a space where roles dissolve. You are not required to be calm. You are not required to be cheerful. You are not required to explain fatigue or silence. The body receives permission to exist as it is. This permission is not conceptual. It is physiological. When the nervous system senses that no adjustment is required, it reduces vigilance. It reduces the need for internal correction. This supports regulation. Over time, repeated exposure to this kind of environment shapes how the nervous system responds more broadly. The body learns that not all presence requires effort. That connection does not always demand performance. This learning can carry into other areas of life. People who regularly experience acceptance without condition often find it easier to relax elsewhere. Their baseline becomes more flexible. Their recovery from stress improves. Importantly, this effect does not depend on emotional closeness in the way it is often described. Even people who do not consider themselves especially bonded to their pets often experience this relief. The body responds to the absence of expectation more than to affection. Animals do not reflect our identity back to us in words. They reflect it through consistency. They respond to who we are without commentary. This creates a sense of authenticity without effort. Authenticity, in this context, is not about expressing something. It is about not needing to manage expression. The nervous system thrives in these conditions. Energy that would otherwise be spent maintaining a self-image becomes available for regulation and repair. This is why time with pets often feels restorative, even when nothing meaningful happens. No insight is gained, no emotion is processed. The body simply rests in a state where it does not need to be different. As we continue, we'll look at how this acceptance becomes especially powerful during quiet moments and rest, and why animals often feel most comforting when the world slows and demands fade away. Quiet moments are when the influence of pets becomes most noticeable. During the day, attention is often pulled outward. Tasks, conversations, and movement keep the nervous system engaged. Even calm activities carry some level of demand. As evening approaches, that demand begins to ease. Light softens, movement slows. The environment becomes less complex. The nervous system responds to this shift. Alertness decreases gradually. Attention widens rather than sharpens. The body begins preparing for rest. Pets naturally align with this transition. Many animals follow circadian patterns that mirror human rhythms. They become less active as the day ends. They settle into familiar places. Their behavior signals that the environment is entering a low-demand state. These signals matter. The nervous system uses environmental cues to determine when it is safe to rest. Predictable changes in light, sound, and movement help guide this process. Pets contribute to these cues in a subtle but reliable way. An animal settling nearby communicates stillness. Shared quiet reinforces the sense that nothing is required. This shared stillness supports regulation. The body does not need to remain alert for interruption. Muscles soften. Breathing deepens slightly. Importantly, this effect does not require interaction. A pet does not need to be touched, spoken to, or acknowledged. Simply sharing space during quiet moments is enough. From a biological perspective, this shared rest helps synchronize internal rhythms. Breathing patterns may slow together. Movement becomes minimal. Attention drifts without needing to stay focused. This synchronization is not deliberate. It happens through exposure to consistent cues. The nervous system reads the environment as safe and predictable. It allows internal processes to move toward recovery. Quiet moments also reduce sensory input. There are fewer sounds, less visual stimulation, less need for response. Pets fit naturally into this reduced input environment. They do not introduce new stimuli. They do not demand engagement. Their presence becomes part of the background rather than a focal point. This background presence supports a sense of continuity. The environment feels inhabited but calm, alive but settled. This balance is important for sleep. The transition into sleep requires the nervous system to release readiness. If the environment feels empty or uncertain, this release can be delayed. Pets prevent this uncertainty. Their presence confirms that the space remains stable, that nothing has changed suddenly. Many people notice this effect most clearly at night. The sound of a pet breathing nearby. a familiar shape resting in the room, the sense that another living being is present without expectation. These cues reduce the need for internal monitoring. The body does not need to stay alert to its surroundings. It can allow awareness to soften. For some, this makes falling asleep easier. For others, it deepens the quality of rest, even if sleep itself remains light. This effect is not limited to sleep alone. Quiet moments during the day, sitting, reading, resting, are influenced in the same way. Pets anchor these moments. They reinforce that stillness is allowed, that nothing needs to happen next. Over time, repeated exposure to quiet moments with pets strengthens this association. The nervous system learns that calm environments often include animal presence. It begins to respond more quickly to the cues of rest. This learning is subtle but persistent. It does not require intention or awareness. It simply reflects the body adapting to patterns. Pets mirror calm, not by instructing it, but by embodying it. They rest when rest is available. They remain still when nothing is required. In doing so, they model a state the nervous system can follow. As we continue, we'll explore why this pattern feels so natural from an evolutionary perspective, and how shared environments and co-regulation shape the deep bond between humans and animals over time. For many people, keeping pets does not feel like a decision that needs to be justified. It feels intuitive, something that fits easily into human life. From an evolutionary perspective, this sense of naturalness is not accidental. Humans evolved in groups. Shared environments increase survival. Living alongside other beings meant fewer blind spots and greater stability. Co-regulation was part of this arrangement. The nervous systems of early humans were shaped by constant proximity to others. Shared vigilance reduced individual load. One individual did not need to monitor everything alone. Animals became part of this system. Certain animals offered sensory awareness without social complexity. They noticed changes in the environment early. They reacted to movement, sound, and scent in ways that were informative but not demanding. This made them valuable companions in shared spaces. Over time, humans adapted to this presence. The nervous system learned that certain animals could be trusted as part of the environment. They did not require constant evaluation. They provided information passively. This trust supported regulation. When awareness is shared, vigilance decreases. When vigilance decreases, energy becomes available for maintenance and recovery. Pet ownership reflects this ancient pattern. A pet in the home provides another point of awareness, another rhythm, another presence that participates in the environment. This reduces the sense of carrying everything alone. Importantly, this does not require conscious reliance. The nervous system responds automatically to shared presence. It does not need to reason through it. Shared environments also support mutual benefit. Humans provide food, shelter, and protection. Animals provide awareness, rhythm, and continuity. Both nervous systems adjust to one another over time. This adjustment is subtle. Pets learn household routines. Humans learn animal cues. Each adapts to the other's patterns. This mutual adaptation creates stability. Stability is deeply regulating. From a biological standpoint, systems thrive when inputs are predictable. Shared environments with consistent rhythms allow internal processes to operate more efficiently. Pet ownership creates these environments naturally. There is no need for formal structure. Routines emerge organically. Wake times, rest periods, movement through space. These shared rhythms align the nervous systems of humans and animals. This alignment is not emotional in nature. It is physiological. Heart rhythms adapt. Attention patterns synchronize. Energy expenditure balances. Over generations, humans became accustomed to this arrangement. Animals that tolerated human proximity thrived. Humans who benefited from animal presence experienced greater stability. The bond persisted. This persistence is a key indicator of biological usefulness. Evolution does not preserve unnecessary behaviors. If pet ownership offered no advantage, it would have faded. Instead, it became widespread, across cultures, across climates, across social structures. This suggests that the relationship supported regulation in a way that remained relevant even as environments changed. Modern life has altered many aspects of human existence, but the nervous system remains largely the same. It still responds to shared presence. It still benefits from co-regulation. It still seeks environments that reduce individual load. Pets fulfill these needs in a way that feels familiar. They fit into human spaces without demanding explanation. This is why people often describe pets as feeling like part of the household rather than additions to it. They are integrated into the environment. The nervous system treats them as such. Pet ownership feels natural because it aligns with how human systems evolved to function. It supports shared awareness. It distributes vigilance. It reinforces rhythm and stability. These conditions are not luxuries. They are foundational. As we continue, we'll explore how this deep sense of naturalness becomes especially important during times of change or stress, and why pets often become emotional anchors when life feels uncertain. There are moments in life when familiar structures loosen. Transitions, loss, periods of uncertainty. During these times, the nervous system looks for stability. Pets often become anchors in these moments, not because they solve what is happening, but because they remain unchanged while everything else shifts. From a biological perspective, anchors matter. When the environment becomes unpredictable, internal systems increase monitoring. Attention sharpens. The body prepares for disruption. This readiness consumes energy. An anchor reduces that cost. An emotional anchor is not something that explains or reassures. It is something that remains steady enough to orient around. Pets provide this steadiness naturally. Their routines continue. Their needs remain simple. Their responses stay familiar. This consistency offers the nervous system a reference point. In moments of grief, this can be especially important. Loss disrupts continuity. The nervous system struggles to predict what comes next. Internal rhythms become unstable. A pet's presence restores some of that rhythm. Feeding times still arrive. Rest still happens. Movement through the day continues in known patterns. These repetitions communicate stability. The body does not need to interpret or process them. It simply recognizes that something remains the same. This recognition reduces the intensity of internal monitoring. During periods of stress, pets play a similar role. Stress narrows attention. It pulls awareness toward potential threat. It makes the future feel uncertain. A familiar animal nearby grounds attention in the present. The nervous system shifts from projection to perception, from anticipation to presence. This shift supports regulation. Pets also offer non-verbal support. They do not ask questions. They do not require articulation. They do not push for resolution. This absence of demand is important. During emotional strain, language can feel effortful. Explanation can increase load rather than relieve it. Pets bypass this entirely. Their presence does not require processing. Simply sharing space is enough. This allows the nervous system to remain connected without becoming overwhelmed. In periods of change, identity can also feel unstable. Roles shift. Certainty decreases. Self-perception becomes less clear. Pets do not reflect these changes back. They respond consistently regardless of circumstance. This consistency helps stabilize internal state. The body recognizes that at least one part of the environment remains unchanged. Over time, this has a cumulative effect. Repeated experiences of steadiness reinforce regulation. The nervous system learns that not all change is total, that some aspects of life remain reliable. This learning supports resilience. Resilience is not about enduring more. It is about recovering more efficiently. Pets contribute to this recovery by offering a stable point of reference. Even after loss, pets continue to anchor the environment. They do not mark time in the same way humans do. They remain present. This presence can be grounding. It reminds the nervous system that connection does not disappear entirely, that life continues at a manageable pace. Importantly, pets do not need to be active to fulfill this role. They do not need to comfort in a human sense. They do not need to respond to emotion. Their consistency is enough. This is why pets are often described as helping people through difficult periods, even when little interaction occurs. The body responds to steadiness more than to sympathy. Over time, emotional anchors help restore baseline. Baseline is not a return to what existed before. It is a new equilibrium that allows systems to function again. Pets support this process quietly. They do not guide it. They do not accelerate it. They remain. As we continue, we'll explore how the brain interprets this steady presence at a deeper cognitive level, and why pets are often processed as social beings rather than objects, even without language or complex interaction. The way the brain responds to pets reveals something important about how deeply they are integrated into human experience. From a neurological perspective, pets are not processed as objects. They are processed as social beings. This distinction shapes how the body and mind respond in their presence. The human brain contains specialized systems for recognizing other living agents. These systems track faces, movement, intention, and emotional cues. They evolved to help humans navigate social environments efficiently. When these systems detect another being, they prepare the body for interaction. With humans, this preparation is complex. It involves interpretation, prediction, and regulation. the brain must assess mood, intent, and potential response. With pets, these same systems are activated, but in a simpler way. The brain recognizes an animal as alive, responsive, and intentional, but it does not need to process layered social meaning. This creates a unique balance. Pets are treated as social enough to provide connection, but simple enough to avoid overload. Face recognition plays a role here. Research shows that humans quickly learn to recognize the faces of familiar animals. This recognition activates many of the same neural pathways used for human faces. The brain stores these representations automatically. This familiarity supports safety. When a face is recognized, the brain reduces uncertainty. It no longer needs to evaluate whether the being is known or unknown. Vigilance decreases. Movement is processed similarly. The brain tracks intentional movement differently than random motion. Animals move with purpose. They pause, shift, and respond to their environment. These patterns signal agency. Agency matters because it allows the brain to predict behavior. Predictability reduces monitoring. Pets quickly become readable. Their habits are learned. Their responses are anticipated. The brain no longer needs to simulate multiple outcomes. This reduces cognitive demand. Emotional mirroring also contributes. While animals do not mirror emotion in the same way humans do, they reflect internal states through posture, movement, and rhythm. Calm animals move slowly. Resting animals remain still. Alert animals change position. The nervous system responds to these cues automatically. When a pet is calm, the brain registers the environment as calm. This supports regulation. Social bonding circuits are involved as well. Neural pathways associated with attachment and trust become active during repeated interaction with familiar animals. These pathways do not require language. They respond to consistency and presence. Over time, the brain categorizes pets as part of the social environment rather than as external stimuli. This categorization has consequences. Social beings are expected to be present. Their absence is noticed. Their behavior influences internal state. Objects do not have this effect. This is why the presence of a pet can alter how a space feels, even when nothing else changes. The brain is responding to social context, not decoration. Importantly, this response does not depend on belief or intention. Even people who do not consciously think of animals as companions often show the same neural patterns. The brain processes the signals automatically. This explains why pets can influence mood and physiology without direct interaction. The brain is constantly reading the social field. Pets occupy a place within that field. They signal life without complexity, connection without negotiation. This allows the brain to maintain a sense of social continuity without activating full social engagement. From a regulatory standpoint, this is ideal. The nervous system remains connected while conserving energy. Over time, repeated exposure strengthens these patterns. The brain becomes faster at recognizing pets as familiar social beings. The calming effects appear more quickly. Less input is required. This is why long-term pet relationships often feel deeply stabilizing. The brain has fully integrated the animal into its social map. As we move forward, we'll look at how this integration affects people across different stages of life, and why bonds with animals can feel especially meaningful during childhood, aging, and periods of vulnerability. The bond between humans and animals reveals different qualities at different stages of life, but the underlying biology remains consistent. Across the lifespan, the nervous system responds to pets through the same core mechanisms: presence, predictability, and low demand. What changes is how these mechanisms support each stage. In childhood, the nervous system is still developing. Regulation is learned through experience rather than instruction. Children rely heavily on their environment to shape internal stability. Pets play a unique role here. They provide consistent companionship without requiring complex communication. A child does not need to explain themselves to a pet. They can be loud or quiet, playful or withdrawn. The pet's response remains steady. This consistency helps children learn emotional regulation implicitly. They observe calm, they experience comfort, they practice caregiving without pressure. These experiences shape developing neural pathways. Children also benefit from the sensory aspects of pet interaction. Touch, movement, and rhythm provide grounding input. The nervous system learns to associate connection with safety rather than evaluation. As people move into adulthood, the demands placed on regulation increase. Responsibilities multiply. Social roles become more complex. Internal monitoring becomes constant. Pets continue to support regulation during this stage by offering relief from performance. They provide connection that does not require explanation. They create routines that stabilize time. They reduce isolation during quiet moments. For adults, pets often serve as buffers. They soften the impact of stress. They help maintain rhythm during periods of change. They offer a steady presence when social energy is depleted. As people age, the nervous system undergoes further shifts. Sensory processing changes. Social circles may shrink. Daily structure can become less defined. Pets help restore structure and connection. They provide a reason to engage with routine. They anchor attention in the present. They reduce the sense of emptiness that can accompany aging. For older adults, pets also support emotional continuity. They remain familiar even as other aspects of life change. They offer companionship without requiring adaptation to new social dynamics. This reduces internal strain. The nervous system does not need to adjust constantly. It can settle into familiar patterns. Across generations, pets often act as bridges. Children and older adults can connect through shared interaction with animals. The pet becomes a common reference point. This shared presence supports regulation for everyone involved. Importantly, pets do not demand cognitive complexity. They do not require fast processing or memory. They respond to presence rather than precision. This makes them accessible companions at all stages of life. The brain does not need to work harder to maintain the bond. From a biological perspective, this accessibility is significant. It allows regulation to continue even when other capacities fluctuate. Pets also provide continuity across transitions. A child grows into an adult ages. Roles change. The pet remains a familiar presence. This continuity supports identity stability. The nervous system recognizes something constant amid change. That recognition reduces stress. It allows internal systems to adjust gradually, rather than abruptly. This is why people often describe pets as family, not because they replace human relationships, but because they persist across time in a way that supports regulation at every stage. The bond adapts, but it does not disappear. As we move toward the final sections, we'll explore what happens when this steady presence becomes enough on its own. When no action, interaction, or explanation is needed for the nervous system to feel safe. There is a point in regulation when nothing more is required. No action, no explanation, no attempt to change how anything feels. From a biological perspective, this point matters. Much of human stress comes not from what is happening, but from the effort to manage it. The nervous system stays active when it believes something must be fixed, interpreted, or resolved. Pets often interrupt this cycle by offering presence without expectation. They do not arrive with solutions. They do not ask questions. They do not respond differently based on how we explain ourselves. They simply remain. This remaining is not passive in a biological sense. It carries information. When another living being shares space without demand, the nervous system receives a signal that it does not need to act. Awareness can stay open without preparing for response. This is a rare condition. In many social environments, presence implies engagement. Being seen implies performance. Silence implies something unresolved. Pets remove these implications. Their presence does not escalate silence into meaning. Silence remains just silence. This allows the nervous system to release a layer of monitoring. There is no need to check in. No need to respond correctly. No need to adjust tone or behavior. The body registers this absence of demand quickly. Muscle tension softens. Breathing becomes less controlled. Posture shifts naturally. These changes happen without instruction. Presence alone becomes enough. This is especially important during moments when energy is low. Fatigue, illness, emotional strain. In these states, even small demands can feel overwhelming. Pets do not add to that load. They do not require reassurance. They do not need to be entertained. They do not interpret withdrawal as rejection. They remain steady regardless. From a regulatory standpoint, this steadiness is deeply supportive. It tells the nervous system that nothing needs to be produced, that rest does not require justification. The body can exist without preparing for the next task. Over time, repeated exposure to this kind of presence reshapes expectation. The nervous system learns that connection does not always come with cost. That shared space can be neutral rather than demanding. This learning has broad effects. People who experience presence without expectation often become better at resting. They recover more efficiently from stress. They are less likely to remain in prolonged vigilance. Pets model this state naturally. They do not perform calm. They embody it. They rest when rest is available. They remain still when nothing is required. This embodiment gives the nervous system permission to follow. Importantly, this does not require interaction. A pet does not need to be touched or acknowledged for this effect to occur. Shared space is sufficient. This is why pets can feel comforting even when they are across the room, even when they are asleep, even when they are not actively engaged. Their presence stabilizes the environment. In moments where humans often feel the urge to fix or fill space, pets do neither. They allow the moment to remain unfinished. This unfinished quality is important. Healing and regulation do not always move toward resolution. Sometimes they move toward stillness. When presence is enough, the nervous system can stop searching for improvement. It can settle into maintenance mode. This mode supports repair. It supports balance. It supports recovery without effort. Pets create conditions where this mode becomes accessible. They do not instruct it. They do not accelerate it. They simply remain. As we continue, we'll explore how this quiet steadiness becomes a two-way process, how humans and pets regulate one another through shared presence, and why this mutual settling deepens over time. The relationship between humans and pets is not one-sided. Regulation moves in both directions. While pets help humans settle, humans also influence the nervous systems of their animals. This shared influence creates a quiet feedback loop, where each presence shapes the other without effort or intention. From a biological perspective, this is co-regulation. Co-regulation occurs when two nervous systems adjust to one another through proximity, rhythm, and shared environment. It does not require communication. It does not require awareness. It emerges naturally when living beings occupy the same space over time. Pets are especially sensitive to environmental cues. They notice changes in tone, movement, and energy. They respond to pacing, posture, and breathing. When a human nervous system is tense, animals often become more alert. When a human settles, animals tend to settle as well. This is not emotional mirroring in a human sense. It is physiological alignment. Breathing patterns influence the space. Movement slows or speeds up. Stillness becomes contagious. Over time, these adjustments become familiar. A pet learns the rhythms of its human environment. It recognizes when activity usually ends. It knows when quiet tends to begin. This learning allows the animal to anticipate rest. The human nervous system responds in parallel. Seeing a pet settle provides confirmation that the environment is safe. If the animal is calm, nothing urgent is happening. This feedback loop strengthens regulation. Neither system needs to lead. Neither needs to instruct the other. They settle together. This mutual regulation becomes especially noticeable during prolonged quiet. Long evenings, resting periods, times when nothing changes for a while. In these moments, nervous systems synchronize naturally. Breathing may slow at similar rates. Movement becomes minimal. Awareness softens. The environment feels steady rather than empty. From a scientific standpoint, this shared settling reduces internal load. The nervous system expends less energy monitoring the environment. It trusts the signals it receives. Pets contribute to this trust because their behavior is honest and immediate. If something changes, animals react quickly. If nothing changes, they remain calm. This responsiveness acts as an external indicator. The human nervous system learns to rely on it. This reliance does not require conscious thought. It is embedded through repetition. Over time, shared regulation becomes the default state. The presence of a familiar pet can quickly bring the nervous system out of readiness and into balance. Likewise, a calm human environment helps pets maintain their own stability. This mutual benefit reinforces the bond. Both systems feel safer together than alone. Importantly, this process does not depend on active interaction. A pet does not need to be touched. A human does not need to speak. Shared presence is enough. This is why pets often remain close during rest. They are not seeking stimulation. They are participating in regulation. Their stillness reflects the environment. Their calm supports it. Over long periods, this mutual regulation shapes baseline state. The nervous system becomes accustomed to settling more easily. Recovery from stress becomes faster. Vigilance does not linger as long. This effect accumulates quietly. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It appears as ease. Ease in shared space. Ease in silence. Ease in doing nothing together. Pets and humans co-create this ease. Neither is passive. Neither is dominant. They respond to one another continuously. This is why the bond deepens over time. The longer nervous systems regulate together, the more familiar that state becomes. Eventually, calm feels normal in each other's presence. As we move toward the final sections, we'll explore what happens when this shared regulation is interrupted. Why the absence of a pet can feel so significant, and how the nervous system experiences loss not only emotionally, but physiologically as well. When a pet is no longer present, the absence often feels larger than expected. Not only emotionally, but physically. The space feels different. The rhythm changes. Something familiar is missing even when nothing obvious has changed. This reaction is not a failure of perspective. It is a biological response. The nervous system does not register loss only as sadness. It registers loss as the removal of a stabilizing pattern. For a long time, a familiar animal presence has shaped the environment. Movement, sound, routine, shared stillness. When that presence disappears, the nervous system notices immediately. The environment becomes quieter in a different way, less predictable, less inhabited. This change increases monitoring. The body begins scanning again, listening more closely, waiting for cues that no longer arrive. This is why loss can feel unsettling even in calm moments. The nervous system has lost a reference point. Pets do not occupy attention in the way people do. They occupy background awareness. Their influence is constant but subtle. When that influence is removed, the background changes. From a biological perspective, this shift is significant. The nervous system relied on the pet's presence to help assess safety. It used familiar cues to determine when it could relax. Without those cues, readiness can return. Breathing may feel less settled. Sleep may become lighter. Attention may feel less anchored. This is not because something is wrong. It is because regulation has lost one of its supports. Attachment plays a role here, but not in the way it is often described. Attachment to pets is not only emotional, it is regulatory. The body has learned to associate the pet with calm states, with low-demand environments, with shared stillness. When the pet is gone, the nervous system does not immediately know how to recreate those conditions. It takes time. This is why grief over a pet can feel confusing. There may be no words that capture it, no clear narrative, just a sense of absence that lingers. The body is adjusting to a new pattern. Loss also removes routine. Care cycles disappear. Daily rhythms shift. Moments that once held structure become empty. This can deepen the sense of disorientation. The nervous system thrives on continuity. When continuity breaks, regulation takes effort again. Pets provided continuity without asking for it. Their absence requires the nervous system to adapt. Importantly, this adaptation does not mean replacing what was lost. It means recalibrating. The nervous system slowly learns new cues, new rhythms, new forms of stability. This process cannot be rushed. Trying to explain the loss away often increases strain. The body needs time to reorganize its expectations. This is why memories of pets often surface quietly, not as dramatic emotion, but as small reminders. A familiar sound imagined, a space where something used to rest. These moments are the nervous system checking for what was once there. Over time, these checks become less frequent, not because the bond disappears, but because the body learns new patterns. The absence becomes integrated rather than disruptive. Love without words leaves a different imprint. It does not end cleanly. It fades into background memory. The nervous system carries it as a reference rather than an active signal. This is why pets can be missed deeply even years later. Their presence shaped how the body felt in the world. That influence remains part of internal memory. Missing a pet is not just missing an animal. It is missing a way the body once regulated itself. Recognizing this can bring gentleness to the experience. There is nothing excessive about this response, nothing misplaced. It reflects how deeply regulation and connection are intertwined. As we move toward the close of this exploration, we'll step back and look at the bond between humans and animals as a whole, not as something dramatic or exceptional, but as a quiet, enduring part of human calm that continues long after any single moment or presence has passed. As this time draws to a close, there is nothing to take with you. No conclusion to reach. No idea that needs to be held onto. No feeling that needs to be named. The presence of animals in human life does not ask to be explained. For thousands of years, humans and animals have shared space quietly, not always closely, not always intentionally, but consistently. Science helps us understand why this bond feels so natural, why it settles the nervous system, why it supports calm, regulation, and recovery without effort. Animals do not change us. They do not fix us. They do not guide us toward anything. They simply remain part of the environment. And in that remaining, the body finds steadiness. The sounds of breathing, the rhythm of movement, the shared stillness. These are not dramatic forces. They are gentle ones. They work in the background, beneath attention, shaping how the body experiences safety and rest. If you have ever felt calmer near an animal, there is nothing unusual about that. Your nervous system was responding to conditions it understands deeply. If you have ever missed an animal more than words could explain, there is nothing excessive about that either. Your body was adjusting to the absence of a familiar rhythm. The quiet science of this bond does not require belief or interpretation. It continues whether or not we think about it. And as you rest now or drift towards sleep, the same principles apply. Presence does not need to do anything. Calm does not need to be created. Regulation unfolds when demand fades. Animals have always been part of that unfolding, steady, unassuming, alive in the background. Nothing needs to change. The calm that shared space supports remains available, quietly, naturally, and without effort. And so, for now, you can simply let this understanding rest where it is. The night continues, the body settles, and the quiet remains.